almost 3 years ago now, I covered a rather odd game, Super Mario 2 1998 for the Mega Drive, an incredibly demanding and frustrating pirated game that was actually a pirate of another pirate, Sonic Jam 6, a game that put Sonic in the world of Mario. It was certainly an interesting thing to cover in a lot of ways, even if I did at one point manage to screw up royally. Oh, and hey, here's the deadliest enemy in the game, the jellyfish. One false move and they'll have at you with all the precision and speed of a laser-guided missile. Hand back, get high up on them. Yeah, of course they're bloopers, not jellyfish. And they're not jellyfish, they're squids. But hey ho, I've always been interested in seeing what would happen if things were reversed. How would Mario fare in Sonic's world? And naturally another pirate's going to go ahead and give me the answer. And so here it is, Somari, released in 1994 for the NES. I'm sure that many people have wanted me to actually cover a Sonic game too at some point, and well, here you go. It's just, well, it's this one. Like many pirated games, the origins of Somari are very mysterious. We don't even know where the game was produced, although most evidence points to it being somewhere in Asia and, well, most likely Taiwan. January 1994 is the earliest cartridge that people have found. It was covered in Asian games magazines at this time apparently, which is a fun little curio. It does indeed appear that games like this made their way to the pages of mags, reviewed just like any other game, which is kind of cool. Personally, I'm looking forward to someone digging up the cover feature for that Mega Drive fighting game where Muhammad Ali squares off against Michael Jordan. Anyway, on to Somari. It's simple. Mario suddenly finds himself in Sonic's world, something which on the surface appears to be the world of the first Sonic game. But if you play the levels you'll find that while the zones are named the same and feature the same textures and enemies, the layouts are almost totally different. Mario isn't quite what you would expect either. He moves, at least sort of, like Sonic. He runs automatically, he rolls when he jumps, and he can even do the spin dash from Sonic 2. Which is odd, seeing as this is mostly a game based around the first Sonic game. Hey ho. What to make of it all? Well, it's just so different. Everything you think you know is just so one in this game. I mean, when did Sonic get so hard? You might be forgiven for thinking that no one has ever been hit by a buzz bomber in any classic Sonic game. I mean, geez, they're pretty benign, aren't they? Well, not here. Here they're bloody snipers, moving rapidly in large numbers and taking you out in a flash. They'll have you doing a Nicolas Cage impression in no time at all.
Not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
Crab meats are pretty bloody nasty too. The simple fact that these enemies don't have a massive delay for any of their attacks anymore makes the weakest of all the Sonic Badniks utterly lethal. And it's much harder to get wins back now, only a maximum of 3 drop after you get hit, and they get away from you pretty fast. It's really bloody demanding. But the thing that makes it hard more than anything is the way Somari controls. Something just seemed to go wrong here, and the game's level of friction is quite startling. Seriously, it's so hard to get Somari to move anywhere or reach any sort of speed, like you're pushing a car up a hill. It is just so frustrating to play the game like this, honestly, and I can barely do it. As someone who's completed the original Sonic game more times than I care to remember, I can't even get past the first act of the Marble Zone in this game. It's just too bloody much. And there's the music too, which is pretty damn painful to the ears. It seems like it could have been okay, but something went drastically wrong in the coding here, meaning that all the instruments and melodies are somewhat out of sync with each other. With all that said, there is a certain degree of slack that I'm willing to give the game. First of all, and obviously, it's a pirate game for heaven's sake. Secondly, it's a conversion of a 16-bit game to an 8-bit system, which should be taken into consideration. In this regard, the team behind Somari managing to get this busy game on the NES at all deserves a little bit of credit, and they almost included everything. Scrap Brain Zone didn't make it into the released version, although it is playable via a code. It's a rather unique experiment to be sure. There are such things as good pirate games, a few of them in fact, and make no mistake, Somari is not one of them. It's frustrating, unstable, and close to unplayable. But in a world where there's 1,000,001 ROM hacks that put Mario into Sonic's world, not to mention officially licensed levels in Super Mario Maker that put Sonic into Mario's world for some glorious auto-scroller and or Kaizo block fun times, well, this is the vintage example. This was how we used to live, and the world of these fly-by-night pirate operations must have been something. It's hardly a quality example, but Somari is undeniably one of the games that made these pirates famous. Experience it for yourself. Save states might make it palatable, but yeah, just stick it on an actual NES if you dare, and marvel at that which simply should not exist. See you tomorrow!